What's up, dude? I'm convinced that we're gonna see some pretty crazy technological jumps in our lifetimes in pretty much every sector of humanity. And let me tell you something, the kitchen is certainly not getting left behind. Today, I've got my hands on a truly special appliance that I believe is paving the way for cooking technology. And I'm about to put it to the test, exploring its features and seeing if it can cook up a fancy restaurant-style dinner from the comfort of my own home. Now let's go! My game plan for dinner is gonna test out a couple different functions of the Dreo. We're gonna do a sous vide filet mignon with Bearnaise sauce. Alongside that, I'm gonna have some crispy Yukon Gold potatoes and some rosemary, garlic, and lemon butter. It's gonna be a real chefy meal. Let's get straight into it. Let's start by making an incredible rosemary and garlic compound butter. This is gonna be for the potatoes coming later in this recipe. Pan's on low heat, adding unsalted butter. Full recipe will always be in the description underneath my videos. And we're adding in minced shallots, cut very fine, and garlic. And what we want to do here is keep the heat low and sweat these vegetables out for about 10 minutes. Sweating just means you cook them, but with no color whatsoever, so you got to keep the heat low. I'm also adding a little bit of rosemary salt. It's a homemade seasoning I make on this channel. I'll put a link to that recipe and video at the end of this one. Ooh, that smells good. And all you need to do is stir this sort of frequently. And after 10 minutes, it's done. It's nice and translucent. All I did was stir it a little bit along the way. And what we need to do now is cool this down, so I'm getting it out onto a plate. And then I'm just going to stick this plate in the freezer, maybe for about 8 minutes until this stuff is room temp or a little bit colder. While that's cooling down, we are going to zest a lemon into your butter here. That's just room temperature unsalted butter before me for the compound butter. About a whole lemon's worth, but a small one. Parsley, of course, rosemary, just finely chopped for both those herbs. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh. Don't put that in the video. Don't put it in. Little squeeze of lemon juice, brighten things up. Next, I'm adding in those chilled vegetables and just give it a really good mix. Oh yeah, something very fun about making flavored butters. Give that a little taste for seasoning. That's gonna be so good with potatoes. A couple pieces of saran wrap or cling film down right here. Same thing, depends where you're watching from. And we're gonna add in our butter, just roughly like this. Fold over our plastic. And from here, we're gonna sort of even this out. Try to get as much air out as you can before the next step. Just shape it with your hands, doesn't need to be perfect. And then we're gonna pinch and just keep rolling that up like so. Now you could pop that in the fridge just as it is. If you want it to be thicker, you can pinch the edge like this and then push and roll like so, and that will give it a more uniform shape. All I'm gonna do now is pop this in the fridge to chill while we prepare the rest of the recipe. Yukon Gold potatoes, you could use another if you like. I like Yukon Golds for roasting, and we're gonna start by peeling them up. Don't have to peel them either, although I'm going to. Once peeled, I'm gonna slice them in halves in half, and then into quarters like so. So I'll get 8 pieces out of each potato. Of course, you could cut them smaller if you want, but I like this size. Into a bowl, and then I would recommend rinsing them out just once or twice with cold water to remove any excess starch. Now, before roasting, we wanna get away some of that excess water, so just dry them off with a paper towel. I'm really curious to see how the Dreo does these, because when I'm roasting potatoes, I'm almost always blanching them first, but I'm skipping that step today, and let's see how it goes. And I'm keeping it really simple today, just a little bit of neutral oil. That's avocado. You could use another one if you want. Toss, toss, toss. Some nice sea salt. Could use another seasoning if you like, but salt is a seasoning. People don't seem to get that. I want you to get it. Mike, if your name was Mike, that was crazy. For the rest of you, didn't mean much. Sergeant Gilbert reporting for duty. That's black pepper. I can go higher.
Yeah, that's baby stuff.
And that's it. Let's see how the Dreo handles them. Now this here Dreo has a plethora of modes, but today we're gonna be starting with the classic cook, which is the classic fry and roasting mode. And this covers a lot of your bases with air fry, defrost, reheat, broil, roast, toast, bake, and even dehydrate, which is another cool feature. And I'm gonna go 400 degrees for about 20 minutes, and let's see how that goes. Simply open this up, drop in my potatoes, spread them out a little bit, and start the cook. After 10 minutes, I'll remove those potatoes and give them a little toss in the basket before placing them back in. There we go, 20 minutes is up. Let's have a look at our potatoes. And when you're cooking any kind of veggie, you wanna poke it with just a little sharp, thin piece of metal. See if it's completely done. These look pretty darn good. I like the crispiness they have going all around. Nice. I'm gonna take these out for now. We will re-crisp them a little bit before service, so they're obviously nice and warm and crispy. Now let's cook up some filet mignon beef tenderloin. I'm gonna start by oiling it a little bit here. And if you're getting beef tenderloin, try to get a thick one. I put a little piece of butcher's twine around this one right here, just to make it a little bit more uniform. And I'm putting some oil because for me, it kind of acts like a binder. It helps this seasoning stick. And for the seasoning, rosemary salt. Oh man, I never get tired of seeing that green salt hit a beautiful steak. It just looks good. It just looks good. Wow. Again, that recipe will be posted at the end of this video. And trust me, you're gonna want some of it for the holiday season. It makes everything taste like the holidays. Sergeant Gilbert, back in action here. That's just pepper. Give it a nice crust. Pepper around the steak, a little bit like that. So when you go to flip, you can just dip all that up and then do the other side. By far, my favorite feature about this Dreo system is the chef mode cooking setting. And chef mode doesn't just do steak, it also does pork, lamb, seafood, vegetables, poultry. It does it all. It's pretty amazing. Why is it called chef mode, you ask? Well, because it offers more than 40 ingredient cooking programs curated by top chefs. So even if you're a cooking novice, you can easily obtain dishes prepared by professional chefs with just the press of a button. I mean, it's not like they're in your home, but they're programmed into this machine in a way, so that's pretty cool. All you need to do is select your desired menu, choose your desired level of doneness, and the program will automatically supervise the cooking process for you. Just plug in the built-in smart meat thermometer probe, fill up the water tank, and the cooking process will work in synergy with the Combo Cook technology system, providing you with chef-level gourmet cuisine while you do whatever else you do in the house. It's pretty cool. You can also choose between classic and sous vide mode. I am going for that sous vide mode. It takes a little longer, but you should get that edge-to-edge medium rare perfection. While your steak is sous videing, we're gonna make some Bearnaise sauce, which is a derivative of Hollandaise sauce, which is one of the 5 French mother sauces. It's one of my absolute all-time favorites for steak. Here's how you make it. We're gonna start with a little dry white wine. That's Pinot Grigio. You could use another one. White wine vinegar. Shallots, just finely diced, because I like putting them in the sauce, but more on that later. Tarragon. I happen to love it. If you've never tried it, it tastes a little bit licoricey, but it's really nice. And 10 whole peppercorns. We're gonna turn this mixture on to about medium heat and let it begin to cook down. While that mixture cooks down, we now need to melt and clarify some unsalted butter straight into a pan over medium-low heat. If you've never clarified butter before, don't be intimidated. It's super easy. All we're gonna be doing is removing the cream left over from the butter making process that's still inside that butter. After a few minutes, you can see all that cream that's sitting on the top. I'm just gonna tilt that pot a little bit, and then moving around the rim, I'm just gonna scoop it up, trying not to get any of that nice butter fat underneath. And you can just discard that. And you wanna take your time here, practice your skimming techniques. Once you've got that all golden and beautiful, you can turn it off and leave it to the side for now. After about 12 minutes or so of reducing, it's gonna depend on your stove, of course. I've got that liquid down to almost nothing. You can just see a little bit of it there in the bottom. That's what we want. And I should have put my peppercorns in a little bit of cheesecloth or something, because now I have to pick them out. A lot of times people will strain out the liquid and just use the liquid, but I like putting in the shallots and the tarragon. I only have 10 peppercorns in here. It's not a big deal. I'm just gonna pick them out real quick. It's not a big deal till you make a big deal out of it. Dude, quote that, Marcus. To finish your Bearnaise, I'm starting with 4 egg yolks, the damp paper towels underneath just to keep the bowl from moving around. I'm gonna start by doing a little squeeze of lemon in there. You could leave the lemon out if you want. Plenty of acidity coming later. And then I'm gonna start, and I'm just gonna whisk this first for 2 or 3 minutes just to begin to aerate those egg yolks. Now I'm putting in my wine, shallot, and tarragon mixture, and it goes, and continue whisking. That's gonna begin to warm up the eggs a little bit. Do a little pinch of salt as well at this point, and always add more later if we need. And usually when I'm making Hollandaise or Bearnaise, I'm using one of these kind of hand mixers. But because I know not everybody has one, I wanna show you how to do it with this bowl technique, because hopefully everybody has a bowl. And what I've done with my clarified butter is brought it up to about 220 degrees Fahrenheit. And so it's actually gonna cook the eggs right now. So we're just gonna stream this in little by little. You don't wanna put too much at once, otherwise you can split your sauce. Just begin streaming in that butter. And don't worry, if it's not thick at the end, I'm gonna show you how to save it. But as this butter is going in, these eggs are getting hotter and hotter. And as that's happening, they're beginning to thicken up. Just keep working it in little by little. Your arm is gonna kill part of the process. Oh, man. Brutal. As I'm getting towards the last 20% of the butter here, this is when you're really starting to see it thicken up more. It feels terrible. My arm is killing. Oh, it hurts so bad. Woo! Oh, my arm is dead. Now, while it is pretty decently thick right now, I do like it a little bit thicker. So here's what you do. Take a little pot with water that's gonna have that bowl fit inside. I'm gonna turn that on to about medium heat. What we're doing now is creating a double boil. Bain-marie is the French term. Usually when people make Hollandaise or Bearnaise, they start with the egg yolks over the double boil. I really don't like that technique, because what happens is the egg yolks push up the side of the bowl, overcook, and then get mixed back in, ending up with a lumpy Hollandaise or Bearnaise. If you do it the way I just showed you, now you can thicken it up without having any of that to worry about. Kind of came up with that. It's pretty cool. It doesn't, whatever. I don't know. It's not like it's nothing. It's not a big deal. No, I just, I don't know. Just keep whisking. Don't get too aggressive with that heat. We're just looking for a little bit of light steam under that bowl. And if you want it really thick, thicken it up a lot. As you can see, this looks absolutely divine. Perfect to me. I'm just gonna add a touch more salt because I just tasted it. It needs a little more. And that's it. Once it's thick to your liking, your Bearnaise sauce is complete. You wanna just leave it somewhere slightly warm while you prepare the rest of your recipe. Took 53 minutes on the sous vide setting and it's done. Let's take a look at this. Honestly, that sear doesn't look bad. This thing looks pretty darn good to me. And the good people at Dreo told me that when this timer goes off, it's actually rested, so you don't need to rest it. But I am gonna pop this out because I need to put those potatoes back in to re-crisp on the air fry setting. All my components are done. There's only one thing left to do. Let's plate this dish up. All right, Marcus, I mean, what do you think, dude? It looks pretty good.
Looks great.
We blowtorched some of the butter onto the potatoes. The real question is, what does this steak look like on the inside? It's covered in Bearnaise. Honestly, that is an absolutely perfect edge-to-edge medium rare. If it wasn't, I would tell you so. And I think by looking at it, you can judge for yourself. That looks unbelievably good. Okay, Marcus, dig in, buddy. Do you want me to cut it into little tiny squares for you?
Dinosaur shapes?
Yeah, I can do a Mickey Mouse. Here we go. You got a potato. Oh.
More sauce, more sauce, more sauce.
Ooh.
I've never had Bearnaise sauce. This is great with a steak. I've never had anything like this.
And I would say, you know, I've been cooking professionally for 19 years now. If I were to go to a fancy restaurant and pay $50, $60 for this, I would not be disappointed at all. That is freaking good. It's even better than I thought it was gonna be, to be quite honest with you. Ooh. And the butter on the potatoes is just the rosemary and lemon. Thank you for watching and hanging out with me today in my kitchen. If you want to learn more about the Dreo, there will be a link for that down in the description underneath this video. The Dreo ChefMaker is also running a Halloween special where you can save $60 until November 5th. And if you're eager to keep learning today, here are 2 more awesome beef-related recipes that I really think you're gonna love. I also have an ebook out called Master in the Making that has 55 of my top recipes. And we also have sweet merch available for purchase. Until next time, you know I love you and I'm out!